riding the breeze, in the sky you're floating. I'm riding my soul, and I'm so free. I'm not letting go, forever holding. I'm riding my soul. I'm riding my soul. I'm free. I'm riding my soul. I'm riding my soul. I'm free. Riding my soul. My soul. Yes, baby. Climbing on the floor, forever holding. I am imagine the sweetest moment. You're riding the breeze, in the sky you're floating. I'm riding my soul, and I'm so free. I'm not letting go.
At Sharpeville, an industrial township, thousands gather outside a police station in protest against new laws requiring every African to carry a pass at all times.
The bastards ignored the plates, man! No, they weren't scared of all that very well waiting.
Jullie moeten gewoon gewoon maken. Kies groot moeilijk is hier zo. Kom dan, kom dan.
Luister, extra nou wat twee hier, dan duizenden van die de cells are full.
How long is it gonna take?
Jullie laatste keer dat ik in de kamer zat.
Binnen! Jullie mensen, informatie! Eenmaal informatie! Hier is de onwettige bijeenkomst! This man is up back in the stadium! This is your final warning! find a gun. You better find that gun, sweetheart.
There are many people who feel that it is useless and futile for us to continue talking peace and non-violence against a government whose reply is only savage attacks on an unarmed and defenseless people.
Thank you. Welcome to the Human Rights Online virtual discussion for the Winterveld Massacre. Today, I'm with activists and professionals from the Massacre, Winterveld. They are going to assist us today, facilitating our round discussions. Once more, Happy Human Rights Month, and we are hoping that this month is bringing a whole lot of history to us, knowing who we are as South Africans and how do we have to appreciate our own human rights. Today, I've got a lot of cadres that are with me today presenting. I'm with Ntate Derek Musito, Me Linda Siseko, Steve Maboka, Amos Mahlangu, as well as Ntate Mdluli. We also have Teboho Motlong with us in the midst of our conversation, as well as Themba Ndala. So today, this conversation is going to really give us a background around the Winterveld Massacre, which we felt that, there has been a conversation that has been long outstanding for us to talk about the Winterveld Massacre, when it took place, how it happened, and, start having a conversation about it and start celebrating it the same way we are celebrating all the other townships which experienced the same massacre, like your Sharpeville, as well as what happened in Ilanga. So I think for now, I will hand over to Ntate Musito to then facilitate the discussion for today and be able to lead us through the conversation today. Ntate Musito, over to you.
Thank you very much, Nepura. I feel honored for this opportunity. With me here, I'm with the collective that the names have been introduced. That is Lenda Kwenda, Lucas Mdluli, Steve Bokava, Amos Mahlangu. These are the collectives that I'm with, and they will also assist in clarifying if there are questions, if there will be any questions that might arise in the discussion. This started on the 21st of March, when the police, the Bukutazona police, made a mass arrest in Winterveld. They arrested almost most of the activists. Fortunately, we were away to attend the funeral with other comrades. We were not arrested on that day. So those that were arrested, they remained behind. So when we come back from the funeral, as members of the Mabopane Winterveld Youth Organization, we held a meeting, and because we were in our 20s, we couldn't just actually go to the police station to raise our concerns. It would be like so we agreed with comrades, Comrade Mafiga, Comrade Kila Mahlangu was the chairperson then, Comrade Mabiza Mahlangu, Comrade Gilbert Mahlangu, that's myself, Comrade Amos, what was the saying? Munyani. So we Comrade Amos Munyani. So resolved that our parents to go and represent us and request the Buputatswana police at the Dube police station to please maybe clarify us as to why were they arresting our fellow comrades. Then we suggested that they should come.
I think that before we just go straight into it, I would like to cut you there. Let's allow everybody to firstly introduce themselves and who they are, so that by the time we go into the discussion, our viewers know who we are, all of us. So let me give to Melinda. Maybe just quickly introduce yourself.
My name and my surname is Lendakwenda Sisoko. I'm married because I was Lendakwenda, but now I'm Sisoko. As a member of the Winterveld massacre, I was part of the massacre campaign, and to make sure that we play an important role in our community. That is my role in today, to speak about the massacre in Winterveld, 26 March.
Okay, thank you. Ntate Mdluli?
Thanks. My name is Pasha Makwale, Lucas Mdluli. I was very young at that particular time. I was 16 years old. Before I became part of, I was recruited by Comrade Derek Musito, Comrade Finas Munyani, Comrade Mafiga Mashangu, and Comrade Filmon Kila Mashangu. Those people were the ones who recruited me into Umzabala. That we must make sure that the Buputatswana government is ungovernable and their laws are unworkable. Thanks.
Thank you. Ndate Ndala?
Yeah, on that device is Steve Bukawa, in fact. So my name is Steve Bukawa once again. Historically, I was part of the Winterveld coordinating committee during those days. My involvement in joining in the struggles of Winterveld was introduced to the rest of the activist community by one Themba Kamanga. Everybody knows is a very celebrated elderly comrade around ourselves. My angle on today's discussions will be based more on the human rights angle versus the Winterveld massacre. Do we have those human rights? Do we have reparations? Do we have healing, the process for the community? That would be my angle of contribution of today. Thanks.
Thank you so much. And then Ntate Bumto?
It's Amos Flanter Mashangu. Well, in 1986, we're still young, but I was recruited by Phineas Sugar Munyani, Kila Mashangu, and then we started to participate at the early age. I come here as a member of the Winterveld Massacre project that is preparing for the event, and also bringing the families of the departed together in order to commemorate and celebrate this day. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And then last but not least, Ntate Teboho?
Sorry, can I intervene there, please?
I'm just finishing the introductions in Ntate Msito. Can I just finish off with Ntate Teboho?
No, thank you very much. I'm just with Ntate Amos from Winterveld City Rocks, but we are sharing the gadgets. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, over to you, Ntate Msito. As you were still telling us the history of the Winterveld massacre. Yes, thank you, Ntate.
No, thank you very much. I was actually trying to give the background and thereafter request them to narrate further. But anyway, it's fine. Thank you very much, Tabile.
Please go ahead.
On that day, like as members of Maubani Winterveld Youth Organization, we took a decision. We took a decision that our parents must be sent as delegation to the Dube police station and request the senior personnel there to please come and meet with us so that they can clarify as to why they arrested our comrades, and then also why they were actually, can you please stop torturing us? And because every time when they come across a young boy like myself in my 20s that time, they would just arrest you and take you to the police station by using this thing they called Mpengwapeke, and they used the pair of pliers to deal with our private parts. It was very, very painful. So I just wanted to give you that background as to why we wanted to meet with them. We didn't have clean water, access to clean water. We didn't have access to clean water. There was no education with mother tongue instructors was a problem. As a result, most of the youth, they attended school in Mamelodi and Soshanguve. So that's why the role that played by Mayo, Mamelodi Youth Organization and Soyo was so actually, it assisted a lot in making sure that the understanding, political understanding in our area becomes visible. So what happened on that day? The delegation went there. That delegation consisted of a business person, a plot owner, the teacher of the private school or the informal school that was in Winterveld, and an elderly person. They went there. It was on the 24th. The 24th was on Monday. Then the police said to them, our seniors are not around. Can you please, we will tell them, and then can we postpone the meeting to the 26th of March that year. That was done. So mind you, you must also understand that the way the layout of Winterveld is, there is a road called R80. It's the road that links Winterveld and Pretoria. That road was the main road by then, used by buses to Soshanguve transfer. It was the bus depot that was used by almost everybody. It was used by commuters from Amaskral, commuters from Rajiepani, Mokhogelo, and all that. So what I'm trying to tell you, Guri, the victims of massacre are also not only from Winterveld. We also have victims. Then what happened on that day? Mulupe came with his entourage and Mapodi Shahare. They arrived there. We made sure that we would Merogo on that day. We set a square. Meaning that all the people that used that road were affected. In that Asquela, we all went there to the ground. That day was very painful because we didn't know that a bad thing will happen. We took our grannies, our parents. We said they must go in front. They are the ones that must tell Bomulupe what they want, and they've even shown them, because then we were using water from the pit. We were drinking water from the pit. And remember, as for sanitation, we also used pit latrines. So there were worms inside. So we showed him that, look, guys, these children, this is what they are fighting for. There are no schools. The schools are not. You don't teach the languages that languages that these children understand most. You only teach it one. And here we have Venda speaking people, Zulu speaking people. So they go very far to can actually get education, which was not fair, you see. Mulupe spoke words which were not right, which were not okay. And then they didn't go well with us. They didn't go well with us, so we started chanting. And then the Mulupe raised his right hand. I don't know his left hand, but he raised a hand. After raising a hand, there was tear gas there. Started shooting. That City Rock's ground there. That City Rock on one side, the eastern part, was there was a big high fence.
So let's whilst you are still on that, let's get an input on what you are saying from Ntate Mdluli.
Ntate Mdluli. Ntate Mdluli. Can you copy that?
Thank you. After the 24th March, on the 25th of March, during the day, we started to mobilize our people around. We were running with things called cells. We mobilized people and told them that tomorrow we are not going to work. The police have arrested other students, so we are not going to school. Our parents are not going to work. We are going to City Rocks. We didn't sleep on the 25th of March 1986, but around 3 o'clock in the morning, we started pushing our people, telling them that they must go to City Rocks ground, because that is where we are going to ask the police questions why they have arrested other students, because we can't go to school if other students were arrested. We can't leave them behind. By then I was at Maupane High School. I made sure that fellow students of fellow peoples are not going to school that particular day. But unfortunately, when I was around Bushveld Road, Makatu, I had gunshots. I saw smoke above us. I decided to go back home and leave Winterveld to go and sleep somewhere around Mabopane, so that tomorrow morning I can go back to Mamelodi where I was born. But after 3 days, I came back home, and police were looking for me. I was arrested after 14 days, and they detained me without trial for 6 days, without food, without drinking water. Then they released me after 6 days. That's what happened there. But main problem is language issue. Yes.
Okay. Okay. So
some could not be taught with their own languages.
Of course. Melinda, what was your role in the massacre?
Role in the massacre, the mobilize the young people, or understand by then it's a rate of fella, Rebaisa Korebaisa Koteng, Herfetara Kubukana Rana, Banale Plan A and Plan B. Let's go to City Rocks. Retsa shohor akuna mutawela morago re tswalla dintutso tsotlhe re ya ka mohare ga ground re nna ka mohare ga ground go bontsha gore re sympathize le batswadi ba rona re rileng tsamang ko pele rona re tata ko morago ke ka mo e statileng ka teng hence re tsamaya re ya ka mohare re chanta ho pediwa on the other side go nne le fly e tlhageletseng ke mo mokobane monope le mokobane ba stata ba thuntsha ke he batho ba thoma go tshaba the other one o a tshabileng ba tla ba motseya ke comrade Dereki ba tsela o mongwe ba mo thuntshitse a le ka mohare ba motseya ba mlokela next to the toilet to say you must be safe ke ka mo re tloileng ra tshaba ka teng go nne le process e telle tsamayang mo bofellotsong Winterveld as a whole go nnile e statile go thuntshiwa ka 11 o'clock until 4 o'clock in the afternoon ba batlana le ba botlhe ba ntse unfortunately ba bang ba rona ba sale ra thabela social movie.
So, Amos Fenter Mahlangu, if you can just explain to us in the history that you would know, and maybe anybody else can also help you on this one. How many lives was lost during this period?
Planter.
You did not unmute your speaker, Amos.
Okay, now can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can.
Yeah, we are not sure of the numbers of the people who died on that day, precisely because, you know, during those years, the apartheid system, if you killed 5 soldiers, and then they'll say only 1, but on the other side, they'll give you another number. It's more than 11 people who died on that day. There are people who disappeared. We're still looking for them. And families are looking for their loved one who disappeared on that day. But there are more people who died on that day.
Ntate Musito, do you want to come in there and just support Ntate Amos' statement?
Yes, if I may.
Please do. Yes.
Shortly after that, Ntate Mangope appointed a judicial commission of inquiry, a Peter Smith commission of inquiry. That judicial commission of inquiry is the one that can give us the exact number as to how many people actually passed on, because the other figures, Sowetan would report, if it was not posted, they would report that 23 people died. The others will tell you that so many people died. You see, they will give different numbers. So, but what we know is that there are many people who are missing in Winterveld, including my younger brother, Mamhu. There are many people who are missing on that day. So we were waiting for Smith's Commission of Inquiry to give us actually a report as to how many how many victims he identified. Hence, we marched to the governor's office in 1990. We marched there to release that commission of the report of his inquiry, of which he didn't. We are still waiting for it now. So that's why Comrade Amos is saying he's not sure of the figures. I think.
Yes. So Steve Bukaba, you are now currently involved with human rights as an activist, but also as commemorating and pushing the movement for the massacre. How did this start, and what is the plan, and what are the objectives of the movement which you are part of, and what is it that you are intending to see happen? Because I want us to get to a point in this conversation to understand the history, to talk about what is current, but also to start addressing things that we need to take responsibility of and start working on now. Please do engage us on that.
Thank you, madam. In the main, we are doing doing all these efforts using the organizing committee locally here. And what we would like to see is the victims being centered, the victims being the center of the commemoration. That is point number 1. 2, there are survivors, people who were shot and are still living with those scars and are walking around with physical and psychological scars. And that is what we want to see being addressed. We also want to see, Madam Chair, a situation where this trauma, personal as well as community trauma, the collective trauma, being addressed. In a way, we know about that the current counseling goes around PTSD, what do you call them? Post-stress traumatic disorder, and so on and so on. That focuses on the individual, and that must happen. Starting with the families, that is with the surviving families of the deceased. Yes, the common cause is 11, but we know that there are more people. And there's even more. If you think of it about, there's an issue of collective trauma. Researchers will tell you that this is a very new thing in the researching space, in the stress field. But Winterveld is a traumatized community itself. The Bophuthatswana government killed the whole of Winterveld when they killed those who died. So the whole of this community is traumatized. something needs to be done. Justice needs to be done. Justice needs to be found for the victims as well as the whole community of Winterveld. And how is that going to be done? We've got several suggestions that we've put across. We've got several proposals that we've put across. But then we've got challenges as well. When these kinds of events come, personal differences come in, political contestations come in, we need to deal with those things and put them aside. Issues of procurement and so on and so on. We need to deal with those things and put them aside and start centering the victims, start centering the community, making the community the priority for commemoration of this, so that people find closure, so that individuals find closure, families of the deceased find closure, the whole of the community finds reparations. There are people, activists, I can mention two, Amos Munyani, Mpulaye Mukufe. Those guys are walking around with scars, you know, and something needs to be done for them to find closure, for them to find reparations. The TRC process was not done we did not optimize that opportunity of the TRC process for people to go in there, tell their stories, and eventually find the reparations, for the families to find the reparations, for the community to process this collective trauma that was caused by the Winterveld massacre. Going forward, Chairperson, we are appreciating of the efforts that the department has made. We must also give credit to young people like the organizer here, that today the Winterveld massacre can be flighted nationwide, to be known. I like saying contesting with the likes of the Sharpeville massacre, but there's no contestation, but it's just a question of comparison, that the Winterveld massacre also must be nationalized or even internationalized, so that the Winterveld people can see that they are being taken serious. They should find closure. The dignity of the Winterveld community must be restored using this platform of the commemoration going forward, Chairperson. For sure, we'll find I'll find another chance to expand on other issues. But I want to stress that we need to find closure. We need to center the victims of the massacre. We need to prioritize the Winterveld community in order to find closure. We need to get the Smith Commission report to what it says and take it from there. We've got lawyers who are representing the Winterveld community by then. Those are big legal minds as we speak today. Your Wim Trengels, your Peter Harris's, they were involved in that in that commission. And there's no way in which they cannot be able to help us find closure, find those reports and see what is in those reports, and help the families, help this community. Development also must come in order to make sure that the Winterveld community is taken from that status when it was still with that one to a new era of democracy. Thank you, madam.
Thank you so much, I think you know, we are correct when we are saying, in as much as we are addressing all these issues and we are beginning to have this conversation, it's important that we also recognize that yes, government has a responsibility, but right now, between the Gauteng Film Commission as well as the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture, we are taking a step in trying to resolve some of these problems, because I know that one of the things that we are trying to address, it's the issue of honoring the victims of our unsung heroes and heroines, but also is to preserve. Ntate Musito. When we are discussing, your speakers is on and it's but can you mute your speaker in the meantime? You're trying to sort that issue out.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, so that at least we are not disturbed. So I was saying that among the things that we are trying to do from the Department of Sports, obviously, is to preserve heritage that will reflect the importance of what Winterveld Massacre played in the history of South Africa, but also to confirm and which is, I think, it's an ongoing process. Addressing what you are saying, and Tate Bukava is to say, and Tate Amos, when you're saying the numbers are still not there, is to say we are still trying to find all the other graves they must be part of the celebration, and those that the victims that must be honored. But also, I think there is something that has been done in terms of ensuring that we are beginning to educate the youth of Winterveld about the massacre, because I think it's our responsibility in this group and in this team today that we need to start telling the Winterveld story so that the Winterveld story can be known and can be documented. Because if we don't tell that story and we're ensuring that we are documenting this information, the information will be lost in the lives of those that are still available today, and we will not be able to use it in the future when we are losing content from the survivors currently that we have. And I think we need to take a responsibility, but also start honoring those that are available so that we can suck the information out of them, so that we have content and data that will exist and will assist us in the future to still go on and celebrate, but also know the history of the Winterveld massacre. And Tate Amos, what's your view on that?
Yeah, technology is a problem a little bit, but I think Kitlapila, Leona. Well, I'll see. We thank you for the opportunity that the department has given us for a Rilrina as Winterveld, Winterveld on the map of what happened, Kadina Kotselata apartheid. But there's a lot that I think must be done, but we need to start somewhere. Maybe start by healing the wounds. Maybe, first we need to deal with the families, like Steve Bukava has indicated. Give them counseling, do something for the families that, like there's a family, they've lost a daughter. You can go there and see that you'll never ever ukarata khudula moyona. Kamo hare khametsi, abana fluru mufati, mama o matlohaya khasabona khantle. It's just chaos in that house. You can't get in there with a smile. So I think such families, we need to visit them and do something for them. There's a family, Yakhasi Tole, Leona, I think they were traumatized. You can go and see the family. Things are not fine. Mama thing, but and first but one of the things that we want, we suggest that must be done, there must be something something that can attract tourists. There could be tourist visiting, and then but create a miracle, the beads and so forth and so forth. But one of the things that we suggested, what we call a Bantustan museum. It under apartheid, how people in the homeland were abused, especially Mobuputatwana, especially in other areas still in Bantustan. But we want to have a museum, Bantustan Museum, Winterveld. Only can attract more and more tourists, but Winterveld, and that can be able to create employment for Batwamuhai. But also we need sports fields. Young people can go there. And reduce rate young people crime kabunchi mohaimo. So some of the things that we need to look at for Winterveld. But before I pause, my sister, this thing, massacre, it could not be avoided since 1948 when apartheid Inca over Muso was central. Winterveld and non-Tswana speaking people they found themselves as non-residents in South Africa, because if usabu Setswana, you could not access any service kama Putatswana. Yet, South Africa, like Ntwa language, we could not have schools tse di buang Zulu, Sindebele, Sishangani, dikolo tse kaofela ile dia abolishiwa ga kentsiwa Setswana. And then you cannot ukaya wa yonyala ulimdebele ulimshangani go the magistrate tsa mo Putatswana. You are forced. So you go to South Africa, you don't have a citizenship. You come to Putatswana, you don't have a citizenship. So our rights were violated in a way that we didn't know where to go to. That is why this thing massacre, we could not be avoided. What this is the confrontation between the community, the people, and the system Yabu Putatswana was just coming. Avoid. Hence, our people died, and they died for the right cause, for what we free. So we lost our identity under the Putatswana government. We didn't know who Mang, because we were told to Rwanda, because we are speaking Ndebele, go to Ndebele. When you are in Mshangani, go to Kiani. When you are in Msutu, go and that thing ecosystem matata so we didn't have an identity. Go South Africa, but where you come from, Winterveld, but no go to Putatswana. How fit Putatswana, but who are you? Well, no, na I'm Mashango, but no go to Ndebele. And yes, so it could not be avoided.
So Ntate Bukaba, with what Ntate Amos is saying, I'm sorry, but we have a challenge with our other colleagues. They seem to be having a problem in network. Ntate Bukaba, tell me, from your view, because I in terms of the preservation of content around the massacre, around the Winterveld massacre, what is currently available? Because the reason why I'm asking this question is, if we are trained, we're saying we want to start documenting and knowing the information around the Winterveld massacre, is there existing archives that is being kept that can be used as part of our preservation as we are beginning this process to try amend the wrongs that we have done over the years?
Madam, that's a very important and interesting thing to say, that question. One, we've got living archives. And as you were listening to all contributors were saying that we had the Winterveld Coordinating Committee. We had committees that were formed by the parents in order to represent the community talking with the police. There are up to between 8 and 10 or 11 elders who formed that committee. Some of them are still alive. And then I am saying, Madam Chair, that those are walking archives that we need to grab the opportunity to get their stories. Stories from people that we're contributing today. But again, Madam Chair, I would like to see for future purposes this process, getting stories from the rest of the community, especially those who were young people, young activists by then, to put all that together. For my part, and I was also made to understand that Comrade Linda is also documenting. I have documented something. And Comrade that's documented something. And we're encouraging everybody to document something. Where I'm sitting here sits a cultural forum of Winterveld, of young people. They are also talking about documenting those things, documenting the history, documenting the individual stories of people, so that those things, as you say, are captured and documented for posterity. For sure, in just the last few seconds,
yes,
for sure in the near future, you would see those kind of productions coming out. We'll share them with the department.
Because I think for me it becomes important because, from the side of the Film Commission, when we were trying to also be part of promoting the work that is going to be done now, we realized that we were looking for content which we can start promoting and start celebrating. And we realized that really there is a need and there is a gap of existing content that we can use. Because I think and content that must be used, remember, it's not even about anything. It's just about knowing what existed, what is there, what can be used, because we need to really start somewhere. And I'm happy both of you, Linda Amos, are saying nothing has been done. The little that is there, let's begin today and not go back, but take responsibility to say, now we are saying we are taking responsibility to ensure that we are going to preserve the history and the knowledge and the heritage of the Winterveld massacre. And in order for it to get to the level in which where the Sharpeville massacre is and the Langa massacre is, it needs to start somewhere by creating these conversations, but also creating archives that will exist, so that when we start producing that archive, or when we start sharing this archive, at least there is some form of information that is taking place. And I think with that, I want to also say that from the Gauteng Film Commission side, to in all honesty, we really, from our side, in terms of all the services and offerings that we have in the office, we've really never had anyone that is coming from Winterveld, from the filmmaking side of things. Whether it's them applying for any kind of services that we have, we really don't have anybody that comes from Winterveld that have applied. And that is very cumbersome and problematic, because I want to believe and want to trust that there are audiovisual forums and filmmakers that are coming from Winterveld. There are filmmakers that are currently documenting. There are script writers. But I am not too sure why are we not having this relationship where they're able to come to us and ask for the services and the help, where we can then now try to then promote some of the content that comes out of Winterveld, even if it's the content that is not necessarily directed to human rights, but generally just filmmakers from Winterveld. We don't have those people, and we don't know. And I think now it's an opportunity for us to start saying, who are the forums that are currently busy with audiovisual sector, so that we also create and begin a relationship with them, so that when we come tomorrow, as we are going to do film screenings, it will be important for us to even have that group of those filmmakers to come through, so that we can even explain to them some of the services that we are providing, so that they can also start accessing government services, and we will give them all the information that they need. Ndate Amos, what's your view on that?
Yeah, I'm happy how it is at that side of the story. We do have filmmakers from Winterveld. We have script writers. We have all those people that you can need for a document or something Winterveld. I think tomorrow we'll have some of them. We'll introduce them to you. So we're happy about it.
That will be appreciated, because I think it's better when we then start explaining to them the Gauteng Film Commission services, what we do, what do we offer, so that we can then say people are not participating in our programs when we actually they don't know. Because remember, for people to be able to access government services, they firstly have to know what is it that the government is offering. That's the first thing. The second thing will then be what responsibilities do we then provide to them? Because I think one of the things we need to really address on the issues of the massacre is being able to then bring hope together, bring services of government, explaining the services of government, finding ways that we can all collaborate. Because once we can do that, then I'm sure, and I am certain, that we would have started a movement that will cover some of the little things which we are now talking about, to say we need to redress, because redressing really also has to come with readdressing all the issues of the heroes and the non-heroines which were not recognized, celebrating them. But then also, how do we then start developing the young people that will then carry this movement forward. And I think really that's what I think I can propose for today, and some of the things that I think we can look into for tomorrow as we are beginning this conversation. Ntate Bukaba, what is your view? Ntate Bukaba? Please unmute your speaker. Ntate Amos, you are the winner today. You are the winner. You are the only one who connected. You are the winner today.
Yeah.
I am happy. I am happy that at least I'm not alone. You are a winner, so you are taking the cup today. We must celebrate that.
Yeah. No, when we started, I was a victim. But finally, I'm on a laptop, and then I can access all the information, discussions that they raise one more. As much as we're looking at the issue, the other things, the filmmakers and the other things. One of the things I can stress, but it cannot be maybe the department how issue the families. I don't know what government will be able to do for them. I would be happy if what is it that they can access from the government from tomorrow moving forward.
So tomorrow the program is going to be very exciting, because I think the first thing that we are going to do, there's going to be a wreath laying ceremony acknowledging our heroes in the morning, and then followed by a plan that will also include the national heritage as well as Sarah, who is going to then give us a plan as to how they've tried to then firstly identify the graves that of our heroes, but also the plan of providing the tombstone so that we can create a heritage site in those graves. That's the next thing that is going to happen. But also the third thing that is going to happen is to say, in identifying all our heroes, what is going to be the plan to include them in the programs of the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture, particularly on the area of social cohesion, heritage preservation, but also commemorating our lost heroes. And then we're going to do that because we've really confirmed that it was not only the 11, but there were also other people that were affected during the massacre, which we felt that they must be celebrated. And then I think there's also a mosaic that is done in the library. But what has happened last week, there were a group of 10 people, of young people from Winterveld, which were trained to then now do these mosaics, so that in the future, when we are now celebrating all the other heroes, then we'll be using services that will be coming from Winterveld. But I think tomorrow it's really the inception of this progress and of this program commemorating a Winterveld massacre. But I think all the other issues that you have raised in the session, that and Tate Bukaba and the rest of the team have raised, is that all of these things, we will be able to then lay them down tomorrow and say, really, which ones are going to be the key priority that government needs to focus on. I think there is going to be an opportunity for that tomorrow. And I would like to also encourage that the families and the survivors do come, so that we understand the priority areas, and then government can go back and look into those things. Let me just see. Melinda Siseko le wina ka mo. Ka mo le ke matsapa. Ntate Bukaba?
No, right. Right, Ivano.
Okay, but your speaker, your screen is upside down.
Yeah, but abashik.
Okay, in the meantime, Lijiga, let's get Ntate Bukaba to just give feedback whilst you are still sorting out your gadget that side. Ntate Bukaba.
Yes, ma'am. For some time you were off, you were cut off. I'm not sure on what exactly do you want me to comment.
Okay, I wanted you to comment on the issue of tomorrow's program. I'm not too sure if you to say. I would like us to encourage the victims of the families of the victims of the massacre, but also the survivors, to then come and participate in tomorrow's program, so that we start discussing the priority areas which the Department of Sports, including GFC, should start looking into. As we are saying this year, it's our inception of this program, and because of then we are going to grow with this program. We also need to know what is going to be the strategic objectives as to how we are going to address some of the concerns which you raised earlier.
That will be a good start. That will be a great start. Bar the COVID regulation challenges. Now, how many people can come? How is that invitation going to be sent out? And once you put pamphlets and posters around, you might find a very big group of people coming, even on Lucas and so on and so forth. So that can be done, but I think we must find a way of making that meeting within the confines of the current situation we're dealing with.
Okay, so
but it will be a good start, yes.
I think it's a good start, and I'm liking the energy that, because we are not blaming fingers right now. We are saying, let's take the first step. Let's identify or highlight the key priority areas where now government has to go back and then reprioritize, so that when we plan our year for the new financial year, we know the areas of concern which we need to look into instantly. Melindo, how are you guys okay that side? Speaker Salonase off.
Yes,
we are okay. We are okay.
We are ready.
So much. Welcome back. Welcome back. Technology always gets the best of us when we need it the most. And don't worry, it will be so perfect. You'll be amazed. So you are forgiven. There's all the patience and all the time to have you. I'm glad you are back and joining us. So, Melinda, we were just going into a topic saying that for tomorrow's program, from where you are sitting, the three of you, which priority areas would you like us to look into? Melinda? No, Amos, you are my heroes for the day.
We also have a challenge hearing you.
Okay. Would you like to say anything?
Yes, madam, but maybe going back a little bit to the issue of the victims. While you were talking that a lot of these things will be factored in when you're looking at the budget for, are we still on? Because my screen is out.
Yes.
Yeah. While you were saying a lot of things will be factored in for the next financial year, but we also think there are things that need to be done immediately. Amos spoke about the situation, some Mary Banda, that situation there. I understand one of the officials who was helping identifying communities from your side, Comrade Lukua, what is his name? So he he has made some proposals that the family that says they want their father, who was also part of the 11, to stay in Mpumalanga, to be buried in Mpumalanga. Therefore, there's no can put a tombstone there. Something must be done for them here in Winterveld. The situation of Mary Banda, it is our plea, and I think we have discussed it a little bit, that it must be attended to immediately. Meola is sitting in the middle, in the center of, I don't know whether to say a lake or something. Go into the house, you also see that the situation is very desperate. So over and above all other families, because yes, we cannot leave others out, but that is one of the families that we can attend to in the immediate future. Yeah. If possible, tomorrow, one or two officials can go and see the situation. Yes.
Oh, okay. So we can get that opportunity to go see the family. Yes. you are Mepand.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I will also make sure that in my discussions with the team of sports and Tatem Tunzi, I will readdress this matter with him later today, and then I'm sure by the time he comes tomorrow, he should be able to also look into that matter. But I know that Sydney has played a meaningful role in trying to stress some of the key priority areas which the department has to look into. But I think over and above that, I am glad that Tate Amos has gone to the rest of the team and we can get them to participate. Thank you so much. Good. I've welcomed you for 5 times in this session today. But it's okay. Welcome back again. And Ntatem Sito, we were highlighting the importance of heritage preservation around the Winterveld massacre. What's your view on that?
I think we need to identify. I think it's a very good thing to identify the routes that leads to the venue where the massacre occurred. I think those routes must also be identified. Maybe heritage routes. That is very important. Secondly, I think we identify even those. You see, if we can get that the Smith's Commission of Inquiry, it was the victims, exactly and how many are they? The names of those people must also be included in a shrine that will also sort of be erected there, if that will be possible. That can be erected on the venue, so that that place, in the plaque, everybody would go there if he feels like on that day. So that's all I could say about my view.
Melinda, what's your view on that?
View ya ka go hore re batle government e declare that site gore batho ba rona ba khono bana ba rona ba khono itse history ya rona e re tswang go yona, and then re bane le issue ya the around the dintlo tse di le mabapi le mola le tsona re di lebelle gore a re ka nna le alternative ya gore ka ba tlosa re ba ise somewhere mara mola e be go lore Winterveld ke ponelopele ya rona le go tsweletsa se tshwantse re setse for our community, for our brothers and sisters and elderly.
Thank you so much. I think, really today our conversation was really disturbed ki issue network, but Matata network we understand. Ntatem Mdluli.
Okay.
Go hope man, come on man. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah. Kerry, you see, it's more than 35 years Massacre Winterveld do ahead. Families banya got closure, they're not getting it. Baba Angwe, ba itse go bana ba bona ba felletseng ko teng. Now I'm saying City Rocks must be declared an heritage site. But before we declare City Rocks an heritage site, we must first go to it is privately owned. We must first go to the plot owner and talk to him or her that he must allow us to do something, but government must compensate him and give him a money which he will be satisfied of, so that we don't have problems when we want to declare that. Because even if we can declare, as long as it is privately owned, it means like a license belong to plotooning so process. I know process and the families, the families, Baba Saitun if never go City Rocks, Lebona transfer because ho never know. So only the families say 7 century decree bulletin let's on. And some of them are prepared to go to City Rocks tomorrow and by a process a government and government transit committee and Baba Barsaba Grian. Le bona tshwantse ba tlhagelle ba itlhagise gore le rena go Winterveld re tlhokofaletse because as Derek a tlhalositse Steve a tlhalositse a batho ba Winterveld ba ileng ko meeting mo la fela le batho ba tlang outside Winterveld ba le ka mara meeting, and it is possible gore batho ba le bona e ka ba bang ba batho ba bolailweng ka letsatsi. So ne re kopela gore if go na le somebody o sela o nna outside Winterveld by then sela tlhokofallo sela la tlhagelwa ke motho I tlhagise re khone bona gore process eo re ka thusana bjang ka yona le gore a khone kry if a mo kry a khone kry ba khone kry ba go gape.
Okay. Thank you. Ntate Amos Fente, what are your thoughts there?
No, I think it's a start for Nebiano after 35 years. Re ka se supe anyone ka monwana, but re kope gore everyone o leng gore o batla o kentsha disogo re mmolele menyako and re berekisane re bona gore what can we do that will make our life and the life of the people change for the better, so that there is a future for the people who batlang ka momrao ga rena, but also ba khone go itse gore these things happened before bona ba tla enjoy freedom e ba leng mo yona. It was not easy. People died, people were tortured, people put much blood was shed for bona gore ba tla enjoy this freedom e leng mo yona. And though everything is not yet but we are on the road. This car took 35 years to reach the now it means say in the land we must just rebel below a and then hanyane re tla fitla bo re batla go ya go teng and ke a leboga, but they must know gore re tswa go kae, because you didn't know gore umndebele or umshangani or umhlobomang, because you were told to go to Botswana and then go to South Africa, go to Kwandebele, go to Siskai with Kakamo. It has been very difficult. So it was not easy. It was not easy at all. But more so, are leveling the family to.
Yes, Papa, thank you so much. I think today's session, I would like to also acknowledge that it was the first session for all of us, and all these technical glitches, they're totally unprepared. But unfortunately, bophelo we are digital, hanyan. And I acknowledge and respect gore le botsofe le bona bontse bo ya bokena, and in terms of the technology ke le sokodisitse. I must take responsibility for that. I'm very sorry. Ke le sokodisitse mara ke re gape ke le kenya mo dilong a ke re tsadile jalo we are only going forward and yes, I really would like to thank you for your time and for your time and information that you've provided us with. I am excited that as the Gauteng Film Commission, we are also beginning to have this relationship with Winterveld. And we are also beginning to see how we can also try and uplift the audiovisual community that is already existing there. And we can see how we can help filmmakers that are coming from Winterveld to also take a meaningful role and a meaningful part as part of the artists that are in the film and television sector in Gauteng. I think it's very important that we look into it. And among the things that we have, I do have questions viewers that they wanted to ask to our participants, to you guys. So and then Arabe. I will check these questions.
Yes.
Okay, the first question was that can the Gauteng Film Commission fund film producers to produce a film or documentary around Steve Bukaba? Yes, filmmakers can apply at the Gauteng Film Commission for short films, documentaries, feature films, and we will be able to give them all the assistance that they need. We will also assist them to go to other organizations to get more assistance so that they can produce their content. And okay, the question also continues to say, then acknowledge all the other heroes like Franz Chipape, Kenny Mruli, and all the other producers who have played a meaningful role in the history of Winterveld. And I think, yes, content is content, but Enza was saying that in order for us to tell authentic stories, we need to tell stories that are well researched and they are going to be authentic about the history of South Africa. Hence, we will never ever change the history of South Africa only just by just telling it on film, but we need to ensure that we tell it on film, we retain it in our libraries, we retain it in our monuments, we retain it in all the other heritage sites, because once we're communicating the history of South Africa, we need to find expression of this in all the content streaming platforms that are there, so hence preservation of the issue of the celebrating at the monument is important, because we need to always retain history so that the day you and I are not around, the history lives beyond us and we are able to still have our stories told. So thank you so much for your participation. I think I will give you the last opportunity just to give us your last word, your parting shots. And I will start with Tate Bukaba, and then I will finish on the other side. Just our last words of goodbye and our parting shots. And then I think the conversation will continue tomorrow. Tomorrow I am going to be in Winterveld for the whole day. So I'm sure where we did not fix or we did not say, I'm sure we can find space to amend that. Tate Bukaba.
Yes, just to use this opportunity that just to add to what other things need to be done, the mass graves at Jericho, just for it to be noted. Grant and Sydney had done something on it. But my parting shot would be, I hope that this process will help all of us, including victims, to find closure, to find reparations, to find the restoration of dignity. And I hope as we go, as we have started, this process will become professionalized so that the Winterveld massacre also gains similar status as Sharpeville massacre and all other massacres, without computing, but making comparisons of how people are aware of it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tate Mahlangu.
And we hope for a return to la pili. How do we change mapilo abat wari na utwana family ya hapanda ele ngore ina ka mogare ga metsi, and the other people ba le gore ka kgona gore change mapilo bana. And ke a leboga.
Thank you. And Ndate Mdluli?
Le nna ke a leboga. Hope relationship ya rena le Gauteng Film Commission ka sepele ka tšee gore after the 26 to tswela pele. Profiling Winterveld to gore batho ba itse gore Winterveld ke pleke bjang, maybe information engwe re tla ikran go re tlile bjang re nne ko Winterveld, because re tlhako re tlhanko teng go Eastland go kae ba re latlhela ko Winterveld. But I think the families that are closure once ntho e irahala because really kilo ira and ke na no ke ona ntho ira gore batho go Winterveld ka re ba ra a kitse re bjang because gona le molato o sa o felletsa and re nyaka go felletse di families tse di latlhegelletsweng di families tse di tlhokofaletsweng di kgone go closure ba itse bana ba bona ba felletse go kae le nna ke re ke aga ke a leboga.
And Melinda?
Today, I was not sure. Or today, what about an interview? We were struggling for a long time, more Winterveld. And I pensioning Winterveld massacre is thing on the picture. Because Banabarona, they will not know what is happening in Ghana. Balimo democracy, Marbas understanding the Winterveld is okay. Winterveld massacre, but today I think the South African people, but the province, consider and I'm happy because those are Filipino who want to thank you.
Film Commission, I think you brought hope to the Winterveld community. And then on their behalf, I thank you. The collective let this not be for the last time, like you said, that there must be further engagements because there are a number of issues that has to deal with human rights that we want the world to know about that happened. For example, questionnaire access to infrastructure in our area. There was a certain money that was set aside by the Botswana government, and then led South African Foreign Affairs. Don't laugh. In South Africa, in Botswana, there was South African Foreign Affairs, where there was an agency agreement that was signed for the scrapyard called Winterveld must be actually developed. That money was used to build other areas like outside Beirut and Lebanon, Odi prison, Odi hospital, and that money was agreed. There was the bank, DBSA of South Africa, the African Development Bank of Southern Africa, through an agency agreement, a special report actually, that special report. We want the assistance. So when we actually narrate this history, we will also maybe bring it to your attention so that we trace as to where the money has gone, because the Winterveld Development Program was put in place, but there was nothing that has happened. There was a BBS, like VPS, that was established that some of the money must actually be that must be deposited in there after when people are paying, because that was in the form of a loan for further development of Winterveld. That money disappeared. So we thank you very much so that we can bring to the public such things. Because right now, as Winterveld, we feel we never had access to clean water, we never had access to electricity, we never, there are a number of things. But we thank you very much for that.
Thank you so much. I think I would also like to thank you for the time. I have all the patience for a 2-hour hold. I have all the patience. So all the patience. So that I carry the responsibility Runa as bacha. It's real and move with you as we are moving in this technological life. So really, I really have all the patience. I will still have the patience tomorrow when we do meet. I would like to also thank all our viewers that are watching our show. There will be more questions that maybe they might be sending, and maybe we can also maybe rediscuss those tomorrow. But I know that there is going to be a lot of appetite around the Winterveld massacre and the history of it, and everything that you have shared. And I think it is valuable information that I know that it can never be enough when we look at the democracy in which we are finding ourselves living in today. We can never also say thank you to all our heroes and heroines, to all the victims, but also the survivors. You know, we can never say enough thank you to them, because the feeling that they have felt, the things that they've gone through, it can now only be storytelling, but we will never revisit or know the feeling, you know, once we are now enjoying the fruits of the suffering which they've gone under. Thank you so much. And the Gauteng Film Commission as well would like to thank you for your participation, and happy Human Rights Day. And I would like for us to also know that tomorrow we are going to be screening a film called Asinamali, which is talking about the history of Asikwela, which was the transportation system, which you mentioned earlier when you were speaking today. So I think tomorrow's conversation will also going to be nice. And I would like to also just encourage the community of Winterveld to come watch that film and be with us. The film screening will start between 2:30 and 3, and we will be there from 3 o'clock until once the film finishes. And let's celebrate Winterveld. Let's start talking about it. Let's start making noise about it, and let's bring history to good books that can go beyond us once we are not alive. But then the history can always remain and can always be preserved. That's me, your host, Tabeleng Pura from the Gauteng Film Commission. Thank you so much. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Sharpeville, an industrial township, thousands gather outside a police station in protest against new laws requiring every African to carry a pass at all times.
The bastards ignored the plates, man! No, they weren't scared at all. They very well waited.
Jullie moeten gewoon vol maken. Is groot moeilijk is hier zo. Kom dan, kom dan.
Luister, ek vra nou wat 2 ure, dan duisende van die cells are full.
How long is it gonna take?
Jullie laatste keer wat ek met julle kamer gesit.
Kom maar,
Mina, jullie mensen informatie! Eenmaal informatie! Hierdie is 'n onwettige bijeenkomst! This fans is back in the stadium! This is your final warning! Hold still!
There are many people who feel that it is useless and futile for us to continue talking peace and non-violence against a government whose reply is only savage attacks on an unarmed and defenseless people.
What are human rights? The respect for human rights is a central feature of a constitutional democracy. Human rights protect us against the actions of those who exercise power over us and help us to create a world in which we can all reach our full potential as human beings. We are entitled to have our human rights protected and promoted simply because we are human beings and deserve to be treated with dignity and respect. This means whatever our nationality, place of residence, sex, national or ethnic origin, color, religion, language, or any other status, we are all entitled to fundamental human rights. Because of South Africa's apartheid history, the protection of human rights is specifically important in this country. Before 1994, the most basic rights of the majority of South Africans were not respected by the state. We decided as a nation to protect the human rights of all when we became a democracy, to ensure that no one is subjected to the infringement of our rights and the denial of their human dignity ever again. The protection of human rights in South Africa draws inspiration from the global human rights movement, which started after the Second World War and culminated in the adoption of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights by the United Nations General Assembly in 1948. Human rights follow three core principles which describe how these rights work and apply. Firstly, our rights are inalienable. That means that our rights will always apply to us simply because we are human. They cannot be taken away from us by anyone. Our rights will not change, even if our life circumstances change. The second core principle is interdependence. That means that our rights come as a full package. This is because the protection of some rights depends on the protection of other rights. Our human rights support one another and strengthen one another. The third core principle is equality and non-discrimination. That means that every person enjoys the same set of rights. This is a core principle in our South African context. Rights apply equally to everyone. In a democracy like South Africa, human rights are guaranteed by the country's constitution. The constitution is the supreme law of the country. One of the most important parts of our constitution, as far as ordinary people are concerned, is Chapter 2, the Bill of Rights. Our South African Bill of Rights outlines different groups of human rights. First of all, it gives a number of basic rights. They include the right to equality before the law, the right to life, and the right to human dignity. The Bill of Rights then goes on to talk about civil rights, which are the rights that a person has as a member of a community, state, or nation, so they are linked to citizenship. Examples of civil rights include the freedom of religion, belief, and opinion, and the freedom of expression. Then we further have political rights, which include each citizen's right to make political choices, such as forming or campaigning for a political party, and the right to vote in free and fair elections. What is special about our Bill of Rights in South Africa is that it also focuses on socio-economic rights. Examples are the right to housing, the right to education, the right to healthcare, food and water, and the right to social security. Not all countries commit themselves to these rights. These rights place a special duty and responsibility on our government. They are very important because a large part of the struggle for freedom was about improving the lives of the majority of the people. So these are the different groups of human rights in our Bill of Rights. The bill requires the state to respect, protect, promote, and fulfill these guaranteed rights. But we citizens not only have rights, but obligations too. The same values that protect us have to guide how we treat one another in society. So remember, we too have the responsibility to respect these rights at all times. Even if we do not like another person, it is our duty to respect his or her rights. You can see this easily if you think about a specific right, like the right to basic education. It means that you are free to go to school, but it also means that you should not prevent anyone else from going to school. The Bill of Rights also applies to relations between all individuals and relations between individuals, the government, and private institutions. Now, why are human rights so important? Human rights are a central feature of any constitutional democracy. In South Africa, our human rights are outlined in the Bill of Rights, which is found in Chapter 2 of our Constitution and forms the cornerstone of our democracy. It is supposed to ensure that we all enjoy the protection of the democratic values of human dignity, freedom, and equality before the law.